Good day to you all. I want to show you all how to develop some black and white film, but the wrong way. The first time I developed black and white film on this channel, I got some really nice comments, such as this one.
This is terrible advice on how to develop a roll of black and white film. Avoid light the plane. Anyone who says that temperature does not matter, it does!
Gives you that fuzzy feeling. So I thought I'd displease this commenter even further and dedicate an entire video on how to not develop black and white film at home. Yes, I am that petty. But before we get on with the video, I just wanted to sort of explain the self-portraits I made in the last video. The self-portraits was just my attempt to sort of summarize the feelings and sort of the news of the past year. If you guessed that it was something to do with the pandemic, well done. I hope that was obvious. Over here in the UK, we've had 3 lockdowns. We're just coming up to the end of the 3rd one, and hopefully this will be the last one. The first lockdown, it was funny, it was sort of novel, people making jokes, look, we're still in lockdown, haha, and then by the end of it, it just got very, very tiring. Everyone just sort of became a bit emotionally numb. If you're wondering why I had a syringe in my mouth, why do I have a syringe in the house? Well, that is because that's for camera maintenance. I haven't done it myself yet, I'm too afraid to open up my camera, but you can lubricate your film camera, sort of the mechanics inside there, with a bit of lubricant, and a syringe is the perfect applicator for it. And I thought it would be the perfect prop to convey sort of the vaccine sort of hesitancy, the vaccine sort of misinformation, just like the utter garbage that's out there. And there's one shot of me sort of jokingly administering myself to the tongue. One, because as I said before, I was taking inspiration from Tyler Shields. Tyler Shields likes to use tongues a lot, and that was sort of a play on the idea that people think that they know more than scientists. People think that they can sort of self-medicate the disinfectant. Yeah, again, that was just a comment on the misinformation surrounding the pandemic, surrounding vaccines, all that stuff. On with the video. This video is actually inspired by the OG Ed Parvez Goye. I hope I said that right. His brute way of developing black and white film. In this video, I'm offering my own brute method. Black and white film development is different to that of color. Color, the temperature and the development times, you kind of want to be bang on and follow the instructions on the box, because if you stray away from the right temperatures, the right development times, then you run the risk of getting some nasties in your image, such as color shifts and uneven developing. Whereas with black and white film development, you got a lot more room for experimentation. Different development times and temperatures and different developers produce slightly different results. So why even consider developing black and white film the wrong way? If you're not the type of person who gets heart palpitations as a result of the water temperature being off by 1 or 2 degrees, the wrong way is probably more suited to your way of life. Let's assume you figured it out and you've got the film onto the reels and it's in the development tank. Let's develop. There are plenty of developers out there. I started out using Ilford. Nowadays I use Kodak HC-110 because it's affordable, it develops very fast, and it lasts a very long time. That's why I like it. There are tons out there. I'm not here to tell you which one you should go for, because honestly, I've seen results from many different YouTubers and they all kind of just do the same thing. And you can kind of more or less use these principles I'm teaching you guys with any sort of developer. Now, you need to follow the specific instructions to your specific developer. How closely you follow them is completely up to you. If you do the same thing every single time, then you're going to get the same results. So firstly, we need to make a working solution. This is a 1 liter development tank. Therefore, I need to make 1 liter's worth of working solution. So the right way would be to precisely measure out the chemicals using like beakers or using scales, following the instructions to a T. Or you could just eyeball it and make sure that you pour the same amount more or less every single time. However, I'm cheap and I actually do measure out the developer precisely because I don't want to be using more developer than I need to. Next comes the dilution. you need to dilute the developer with water. So for HC-110, there are several different dilution options that you can go for. I opt for Dilution B for no other reason than it uses the least amount of developer, meaning this one bottle of developer develops more rolls in total. So the people who do things the right way would tell you that you need to pick a temperature that you want to use and measure it out with a thermometer so that you get the precise temperature every single time. But this typically means letting the tap run for a while and playing a game of cat and mouse with the temperature, because if your tap is anything like mine, it goes cold, 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 too hot, too hot, too hot, cold, 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 cold. Or you could invest in a very, very expensive immersion heater and get the temperature exactly the temperature you want it to be. Or you could just use room temperature tap water, because you know that room temperature for you more or less gets the results that you want. And so long as the water feels kind of cold to the touch, for me personally, I know that that's the temperature I want it to be. So if the water feels a bit warm, I add a touch of cold water. And if it feels a bit too cold, then I'll add a touch of warm water. Now, this tank holds 1 liter in total, meaning in order to create 1 liter's worth of working solution, the right way of doing it would be to measure out exactly 969 mils of water to create 1 liter's worth of working solution, which is completely doable, but it's a bit of a faff to sort of measure out such a specific amount. Or what we could do instead is fill this tank up to the brim, because that's 1 liter, and then we can just tip out about that much. As I said before, there's a lot of room for experimentation with regards to temperature and development time. Essentially, the longer you develop past the box speed development time, or the more you push the film, the contrastier and crunchier the image becomes. You get brighter highlights and darker shadows. Conversely, the more time you subtract away from the box speed development time or pull the film, the less contrast your image will be, with softer highlights and shadows. Additionally, the hotter the water, the faster the development, but you're also at risk of more uneven results. It can get a bit confusing for the uninitiated, and if that's the case for you, then just follow the instructions on the box. Me personally, my sort of sweet spot development combination using HC-110 at Dilution B when developing Tri-X400. That is my black and white film of choice at the moment for a long time. Develop it at 5.5 minutes, and during those 5.5 minutes, I invert the tank initially for 10 inversions and then 5 inversions every 30 seconds or something like that, close enough. Sometimes it's every 40, sometimes every 50 seconds. I don't really keep track because I found that it doesn't really make much of a difference. So after that, you dump the developer, and then the right way would be to use a stop bath, or you could just do 2 washes of tap water and it does exactly the same. Next, fixer. I use the Ilford fixer for 5 minutes. Same inversion protocol as with the developer. Pour the fixer back into the bottle. So now you need to rinse the fixer off the film. A lot of people will rinse the film in running water for 6 minutes, which to me is an obscene amount of water. So I do the Ilford wash, which requires 3 washes. The first wash involves 5 inversions, the second wash 10 inversions, and then the third wash 20 inversions.
In the final wash, I also add a bit of Ilfotol, which is a wetting agent which helps to prevent dust clinging to the negatives, and it also helps prevent water streaks from forming.
And once you've done that, you pop the film out of the reel, dry it for at least 2 hours, and now, the moment of truth. Will the negative actually turn out? Did I just risk destroying my negatives? Oh my god, were the haters right? Was this all actually terrible advice all along? Did I just single-handedly desecrate the sacred practice of developing film at home? Did I? Oh no. Oh no, I didn't. Oh look. It's totally fine. Perfectly developed, with very little stress and very little fuss. That is the video. I hope you enjoyed that one. Just a bit of fun. This video is mainly to give anyone who's been sort of on the fence, bit too scared, bit bit intimidated by developing film at home, you know, the main thing is though, if you want to get consistent results, then obviously you need to be consistent. Just, you know, jot down your settings and your development and temperatures, and then just stick to that every single time. And then over time, you're gonna finesse your process and sort of settle on the perfect combination that works for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Follow me on Instagram at Zain Photo. Subscribe if you have not already. And with all that said and done, boys and girls, keep learning, keep shooting. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.